Susan Westbrook, what do you know about fear?
I know it's a great place to create from.
Tell me all about it.
Okay, well, I was just telling Simone that I love it when my clients come to me with like crazy, anger, fear, and just emotion that's, around this thing that they're so afraid of. And I say, okay, what are you afraid of? And then they put that on the table. And after they put it on the table, we create from that. We use that as the building block. Not that we're creating into the fear, but that we're creating out of the fear. So for instance, if I'm afraid that, so I'll just tell you what happened to a friend of mine today. She's a yoga teacher and she's totally exhausted. She's a single parent and works for herself, and she's just exhausted and she wants a week off. And she was like, well, I want to take a week off, but then, I don't want to have to work so hard. I'll have to work my hiney off, to get myself ready, and then yada, yada. So we just took that. And in the end, we created a scenario where she's going to do a week called Spa Week at the Studio. She's going to invite in a lot of practitioners who her clients would usually not get access to. So because she didn't want to leave her yoga clients hanging, right, while she was gone for a week. We're going to put deposits down. Those people put deposits down to hold their place, right? So for their teaching that they want to do during that time, which then makes sure she has income for her week. So the whole thing came from, I can't afford to not have that week of income, and I don't want to leave my students hanging, and I'm going to have to work my hiney off, and they will take me. So, and we actually did that in like about 30 minutes. So I had a young client whose parents were going to force some things on him that he didn't feel like he was prepared to do. And as a result, and he came and he was very upset. And, I said, okay, so what are you afraid of? And he said what he was. And I said, and I added a couple of things that I heard from my side. And then within a very few minutes, we had created a scenario whereby he could actually hold to what was really important to him, because that's what the fear is an indicator of. It just like anger is when a boundary is crossed. Very often fear is we look at it and say, as practitioners are like, oh, well, you need to get rid of your fear. Well, actually, no, you just need to look at it and you need to listen to it, but you don't necessarily need to get rid of it. But if I'm looking at it and listening to it, then when I'm moving a client through it, then we're creating something on the other side that's actually meeting what the fear was communicating about. So in this kid's case, it was, can I afford it, right? It was like, well, why don't you create a system where you will never not afford it? So instead of, a hard number over here, we actually created a sliding scale based on pursuit of income. So it's like just solving some, kind of basic problems and paradoxes by looking at the fear and seeing what comes out the other side.
Well, Susan, if someone is inspired as I am right now and wants to contact you, how do you get a hold of you?
Let's see, Susan at smallfishbizgroup.com.
I will definitely write this down as well.
Smallfishbizgroup.com. Yeah, you have to put that on there when you put that in there. Yeah. Well, thank you, Simone. Do you have any other questions?
At this point, I just I have to say thank you so much for, stepping out and talking about the real deal, talking about how people like coaches like you get their hands wet and really work it. It's not just a theoretical thing. Susan has worked with so many clients, including she has been doing some work with me as well. I am so impressed how easy, how fast, how much fun it was to work with her. And I highly, highly recommend her.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, Simone. Well, back at you. I've known Simone for years, and I also, you're just the other day when we had that conversation last week, and you said, well, let me offer you a different perspective. And actually, I had this amazing breakthrough in something I thought I'd already resolved. But then Simone's like, well, I can offer you this other perspective. And I was like, okay. So I always know it's coming. So I think that I appreciate the way that you look at perspective too, which I think is what fear is, right? It's just it's a matter of our perspective in that moment about what's important to us. And so I think you do the same work, and I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, what I also really liked when you said, I'm rather creating something, moving them through the fear, out from the fear, but moving through. And that's actually a principle of healing, that you're not focusing on the emotions of the feelings that come up and arise, that you always go through You
Right.
always go through, and you said this so nicely. I was very, very impressed that it came so naturally because you really do it. So I really love to talk to so many people. They really do their work. It's I'm excited to see people when they learn so much, they get skilled about, and now they practice and practice and practice and get a skill level that you cannot have by just starting out or just reading about it. It's only when you get your feet wet about it and have a natural, how you say, place to come from, so when you're really driven by, when you really want to go the extra mile for it. And I mean, I'm so blessed that I meet so many people, including Susan, and as I said, I really highly recommend if you need something for a small business, want to grow your business, don't know where to start, or feel not, somehow obstacle that holds you back, contact Susan.
All right. Well, thanks very much. And I do want to say that we got into this by sort of talking about what lights us up about our business. And that's the other thing that I think is really important if you're in business, that you're doing what you love the way you love to do it and with the people that you love to do it with and for. And that's kind of what started us on this conversation in the first place. So I appreciate that we took that all the way to fear and went all the way through fear and all the way to the other side of it. So very cool.